There is a lot of buzz surrounding the upcoming film Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, which will be released in April 2024. Notice how the title doesn't say Godzilla vs. Kong? This insinuates that the two kaijus might pair up for this thrilling ride. The film's basic premise is that a mysterious new titan threatens all of humankind and the two colossal kaijus. It will also explore the origins of the Hollow Earth and delve further into the lore of Kong and his species. Scar King would be considered to be primarily a Kong villain. Also keep in mind that everything we're talking about in this marvelous video is mostly speculation and fan theories. So without further ado, let's explore the story of the new Empire's main antagonist, the Scar King.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
What is that?
That's not Kong.
Who is the Scar King? Fans eagerly look forward to the new film on the horizon for its promising storyline and continuation of the MonsterVerse canon. This film is the sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong, which came out 2 years ago. We see a new villain, an orangutan-like titan named Scar King. His species hasn't been confirmed by the filmmakers yet, so for now, it's assumed that he's either an orangutan or some red ape. Fans of the MonsterVerse also got a peek at this creature in the new posters for the movie. Scar King's face is assumed to be that of Kong's, but at a closer look, it's clear that it's a different type of ape. When the trailer was released for the title reveal, viewers observed his glowing blue eyes, orange-hued fur, and lean physique. The Scar King doesn't appear as bulky and muscular as Kong does. It is discussed that in Godzilla vs. Kong, when the Big G used his atomic breath to burn a hole into the earth, straight to Hollow Earth, he might have woken something or someone up. But it is also said that Godzilla was the one to seal him beneath the surface of the earth. Even in the trailer, the Scar King is seen sitting on his throne in what appears to be Hollow Earth. The filmmakers wanted to come up with a concept of a titan that would be a match for both Kong and Godzilla. The trailer for this film was dropped during the Brazilian Comic-Con. In the trailer, we get to see a few new characters. One of them shrinks in size before Kong, and it turns out to be a primate similar to Scar King, only much smaller and a lot more adorable. It might be possible that the creature is related to the Scar King. Some believe that the giant bloody handprint that was seen in Kong's Skull Island actually belongs to the Scar King and not Kong. Now let's dive into some of Scar King's plausible abilities and how they might play out in his encounter with Kong. Assuming that his character has taken considerable inspiration from orangutans given his appearance, it will have similar skill sets and intelligence. Keep in mind that Scar King is, after all, a titan, so his functioning might also vary from his real-life counterpart. Orangutans have highly complex cognitive abilities. While they usually are solitary creatures, some live in groups. The ones that live in groups are shown to have intricate social relations with others of their kind. They are able to form alliances. This may hint towards the possibility of Scar King looking to form connections with others of his species, even possibly Kong. Orangutans are capable of deceiving their kin and even humans. This also proves that orangutans possess more cognitive capacity than gorillas and are able to show up in complex social interactions. Orangutans are primates that eat meat and are one of the few who eat other apes as well. They also are capable of utilizing tools for hunting and other simple tasks. In a trailer, Kong stumbles upon a dungeon full of the skulls of other Kongs. It is speculated that Scar King is a cannibal who feasts on the flesh of its own kind. He is also seen with a bone whip, which he no doubt brutally makes use of in fights. He also might use other deadly weapons. Another action orangutans can employ his observation, given the fact that they observe and learn not only from their own species but also others such as humans. It is possible that the Scar King has a plethora of knowledge which he gained from learned and lived experiences. If there are others of Scar King's kind, they might also be building on their skills underground. The ancient civilizations that live in Hollow Earth could pose as exemplars for these beasts. Let's think for a moment that Scar King has been part of a Red Ape alliance or syndication. In this case, it is very likely that a lot of his knowledge has been passed down from his predecessors. Orangutans are intelligent beings that hold the capacity to communicate non-verbally. They do this via sign language to ask for what they need. Godzilla x Kong vs. Scar King, the battle dynamics. Revisiting what we mentioned earlier, Kong was inspired from his counterpart in the wild, gorillas. As social animals, they're usually seen in families, and a long period of isolation can have damaging effects on their health. Taking this into consideration, Kong has been alone for a long while. This could be used against him. Scar King is also capable of deceiving other creatures. His cleverness might come in handy in his face-off with Kong. In comparison, gorillas are relatively simple-minded creatures, so it would be easy for Scar King to manipulate Kong. Scar King's ability of critical thinking is part of his arsenal against both the kaiju. Scar King's sly maneuvers might be necessary for him in any given scenario, considering that his build is much lankier compared to Kong, so his brute strength wouldn't be sufficient in his fight against Kong. Not to write off Kong as a dunce, since there are many instances in which he's displayed his ability of deceiving his foes. In Kong vs. Godzilla, he uses distraction to make Godzilla face away from him in order to lunge on his back. While Scar King possesses the skill to wield tools and weapons, so does Kong. We've seen him use his iconic battle axe on several occasions, using orangutans and gorillas as an assumed reference for both these monstrous titans. The former have a higher tool proficiency, which means Scar King will possibly have advanced weapons compared to Kong. Even links with ancient civilizations' beasts are shared by the beasts, since Scar King and his kin may be using the inhabitants of Hollow Earth as an example of learning. In Godzilla vs. Kong, we see Aztec-like stone art that hints at a connection between the Iwi civilization and Kong. Therefore, Kongs have also learned a thing or two during their coexistence with humans. In the prequel, we've seen Kong communicate through ASL, which is American Sign Language. This is a result of the contact he's had with the humans over the years. Kong figured out a way to communicate with the beings he shares a world with. For Scar King, however, he naturally wouldn't be able to talk to humans right away. Considering that he has a higher cognitive intellect, he might begin to speak in some language in order to communicate. If we pair this skill with the reality of Kong's aloneness, one can only imagine how the Scar King would mess with his head. In a confrontation, Scar King wouldn't be facing just Kong but also Godzilla. We think the preamble to that final encounter would be a display of his brains and not just brawn, especially against the monster duo whose greatest power is their physical strength. Future speculations. Scar King's impact on the Kong franchise. In the trailer of the movie, we see a shot of the Scar King on a beach in Brazil. Fans speculate that the final showdown between Godzilla, Kong, and the Scar King will take place in Rio de Janeiro. This is the continuation of the clip in a movie a few years ago where people are seen running from the shore of a beach. The trailer also shows Godzilla and Kong charging towards an unseen enemy. This could be the Scar King who has teamed up with another monster for this fight. There exists a fan theory that Scar King is actually King Caesar, the same antagonist from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. This theory has substantial evidence, with the simple assumption that Scar King is the MonsterVerse franchise's iteration of King Caesar. Both the Titans were awakened from underneath the Earth's surface. These similarities make this theory slightly believable. With the introduction of the Scar King into the franchise, there is a lot of excitement around the potential he holds as a villain. Bearing in mind Scar King's ability of manipulation and deception, he could attempt to get into Kong's mind and throw him a bait of false friendship. Sadly, Kong would find someone he relates to. Over time, he'd realize the weight of the threat Scar King poses to humankind. It would be heart-wrenching to see Kong having to take down the only creature he saw himself in. All the kaijus in the movie seem to have evolved as time flew by. The character development might take a turn towards psychological growth, increased intelligence, and not just fistfights. Marvelous verdict. So far, we've discussed a piece of the story of Scar King. To confirm whether all the speculation is true or not, we must wait for the movie to come out. We can only hope that Scar King's story arc in the franchise is explored with enough depth to fulfill all the potential he holds. He definitely holds sway over the direction the Kong x Godzilla universe might take. Scar King has upped the game, and all that's left to see is how the behemoths would keep up.
If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.